Okay, at this time, we would like to get started. I'd like to welcome our attendees to the Legacy Scholars Summer Orientation Virtual Series being brought to you by the Battle Creek College Access Network and Legacy Scholars. This series is an adaptation of our in-person orientations, which traditionally take place on campus at Kellogg Community College for senior grade students during the months of April and May. But unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are all forced to adapt, and therefore it is very important for us as an organization and our community partners to get this vital information of this three-part series to our eligible students and parents. So thank you so much for being with us today. I'd like to begin the presentation with a few housekeeping notes. First and foremost, please know as the registration confirmation email confirmed for you that this is a three-part series. And so we invite you to stay tuned in to different levels of the process. And hopefully by the end of this webinar series, you do feel comfortable in enrolling yourself or your student at Kellogg Community College utilizing their eligible Legacy Scholar credit hours. Please know that if you or someone you know has been unable to attend the meeting, recordings will be made available in the event that someone misses their scheduled time or was unable to register. So we will be getting that information out to all folks who are eligible. Next, as you can see from the screen, we will be raffling off prizes for attendance. So each eligible Legacy Scholar earns a raffle entry by attending each of the three sessions. So the prizes are one backpack, one Texas Instrument 84 Plus graphing calculator, and one Lenovo Chromebook Flex laptop. So the drawing will occur after the series conclusion, and for all of the entries, we'll make those drawings and the winners will be contacted via email. Please keep in mind that a survey will be distributed following each session of the webinar series. We ask that you please take the survey and help us to improve our virtual presentations as this is all new to us. And at any time throughout the presentation, we invite you, the viewer, the attendee, utilize the question and answer tool, which is featured on your screen. Those questions will be submitted privately, and then they will be answered and addressed during the Q&A portion of today's presentation. So without further ado, let's get started. My name is Terry Burleson, and I serve as the program manager of the Battle Creek College Access Network. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My role with the BC CAN is to assist students as they navigate systems at Kellogg Community College and the Battle Creek Community Foundation, but I also manage student success programs, which we will review here shortly. So at this time, I'd like to invite Laura Zale to introduce herself.
Hi everybody, my name is Laura Zale. I'm the Senior Program Officer and work alongside Terry with BC CAN as well as Legacy Scholars. I oversee the scholarship and eligibility and student outreach. And so Terry and I work hand in hand with all of our programming and scholarship outreach and information sharing.
Awesome, thank you very much. And our special guest today, who actually could not join us due to an emergency, so she may still be able to join us, is Travion Thomas, the admissions representative with Kellogg Community College. Travion Thomas's contact information is listed here. You can reach Trey at this telephone number or this email, and she is a wonderful point of contact with any questions our attendees or our Legacy Scholar students should reach out to should they have any questions about enrolling, selecting their courses, navigating the registration process, and so much more. So if Trey is able to join us, we will go ahead and bring her into the presentation so she can speak. But until then, we will move forward. So just A little bit about the Battle Creek College Access Network. We are a small nonprofit located here in Battle Creek, Michigan, and we're a partnering initiative of the Battle Creek Community Foundation. So you may see us around, you may see some of our advertisements published in the paper, but we do run free FAFSA and SAT prep workshops for students and families. We coordinate the Healthcare Career Pipeline Project, which is done in coordination with the Western Michigan University Homer Stryker School of Medicine, where we expose ethnic minority students and underrepresented youth to healthcare careers in 8th grade. We also coordinate the Sophomore Future Track event. This is a one-day hands-on career exploration experience where students are paired with local businesses according to their career interests, and we give them an opportunity to learn more or to solidify what their plans or interests might be as they pursue their post-secondary education. And of course, in collaboration with the Battle Creek Community Foundation Scholarship Department, we do administer the Legacy Scholars Scholarship, which brings us here today. So today is session 1 of the 3-part series, the Legacy Scholars Scholarship Overview. And so what we're going to take a look at today is, what is the Legacy Scholarship? How does it support students? What are the eligibility criteria? How does a student become eligible for the scholarship? Also, we'll talk about the application process and what is required for a student to secure this earned benefit. We'll review the terms and conditions, what a student agrees to when they accept the scholarship. We'll also talk about the uses and flexibility, how we've seen our Legacy Scholars maximize the benefit. And we'll review the Legacy Scholar appeals process. This is a process where students can request consideration for exceptions to the rules. So we'll cover that. And we'll talk about how students can renew their scholarship each year prior to opening up for some Q&A and some frequently asked questions. And we'll leave you today after the presentation with a preview of session 2. So first, what is the Legacy Scholars Scholarship? The Legacy Scholarship is a last dollar scholarship to Kellogg Community College. Now, what this means is, as a last dollar scholarship, the Legacy Scholarship will pay after all forms of financial aid received by a student. So think of the Legacy Scholarship as a gap filler or as a guarantee. All scholarships that are awarded privately to the student will pay, followed by the Pell Grant or other forms of federal financial aid. And then lastly, the Legacy Scholarship will come in and cover the balance, essentially to ensure that a student does not go without, so that the student does not have to pay a bill is the goal of the Legacy Scholarship. We are a guarantee. The Legacy Scholarship pays for up to 62 credit hours of mandatory tuition and fees. Now, keep in mind that of the students' eligible credit hours, we track student usage by credit hour and not by dollar amount. So a credit hour for each student may cost differently depending on their program. So whenever you're thinking about using the Legacy Scholarship and how many credit hours you have left, please remember that we track them by credit hour. And furthermore, when a student utilizes their credit hours, we are tracking that usage even if federal financial aid is used to pay for that student. Now, the Legacy Scholarship includes 4 book stipends for up to $500 to be used per semester by the student. So, keeping this $500 cap in mind, if a student charges $525 in books for a semester, for example, Legacy would cover $500 and the student would be expected to pay the overage, in this example, $25. So the Legacy Scholars book stipend supports required materials purchased by the student, which are outlined on their course syllabus or their syllabi. And these are books that are purchased at the KCC bookstore only. So a student cannot go online and find their books at a cheaper rate. We are billed directly by the bookstore. And one more note about that Legacy Scholar book stipend is that it does cover Cengage or other similar online subscriptions that are purchased through the bookstore in the event that a student has an online course or their course materials are electronic as opposed to physical. The Legacy Scholarship book stipend will support that as well. And finally, a student has 5 years from their date of graduation to utilize their eligible Legacy Scholarship credit hours. Or they have up until before that 5 years to exhaust what is available. So either way, our staff is charged with working with our students to ensure that they are able to maximize the benefits of this scholarship. And let's talk a little bit about how a student becomes eligible. Eligibility for the Legacy Scholarship is determined solely by a student's enrollment history within an eligible school district. The current schools covered by the Legacy Scholarship are Battle Creek Public Schools, Lakeview School District, Lakeview Alternative School, Calhoun Community High School, and WK Preparatory Academy. Now, a student must remain enrolled and graduate with a diploma from an eligible school district. Their eligibility decreases each year the student is enrolled outside of an eligible school district. So if you take a look at the graph at the top of your screen, if a student were to enter and enroll into an eligible Legacy Scholar school district in 8th grade and continue and earn a diploma from one of the eligible schools, that student would be 100% eligible or would receive 62 credit hours. That's the equivalent of a 2-year associate's degree. If a student enters into an eligible district in 9th grade and then continues to receive a diploma from an eligible school, that student would be 75% eligible or receive 46.5 credit hours. That's the equivalent of a 1.5 years toward an associate's degree. If a student enters an eligible district in 10th grade, that student is then 50% eligible, set to receive 31 credit hours, or the equivalent of 1 year towards their associate's degree. And finally, and important to note, if a student enters an eligible district in the 11th or 12th grade, then they are 0% eligible, and it does not matter if they secure the diploma from an eligible Legacy Scholar school district. So this is how eligibility is determined, and students are notified sometime around November of their eligibility. The information that we receive from the student's high school is then put into an official offer letter so students know exactly what they are eligible for. So that is your Legacy Scholarship eligibility criteria. So how does a student apply for the Legacy Scholarship? As I had said before, the Legacy Scholarship is actually administered through the Battle Creek Community Foundation. And so therefore, our students will visit the Battle Creek Community Foundation website to get scholarship consideration for scholarship awards outside of Legacy, but also our scholarship as well. As you can see here on the screen, when you reach the homepage for scholarships at the Battle Creek Community Foundation website, you'll be able to apply or continue your application. And this is the screen you will see once you are able to log in. So our graduating seniors have ideally already created an account as a graduating senior. And if once they come back as adult students, they will simply log on using the same email, if they still have that, to continue reapplying every year. So as we said before, the Legacy Scholars do complete the Battle Creek Community Foundation Universal Scholarship application each year to utilize eligible Legacy Scholarship credit hours. And that URL is here for you in the presentation, www.bccfoundation.org/scholarships. And when a student goes into this system to submit a universal application to get consideration for almost 300 scholarships, they will be required to submit 3 required documents. The first being the student's most recent grades. So for our graduating seniors, they spoke to their guidance counselor or they spoke to their school registrar to secure an official transcript. That is what they upload into the application. However, when a student comes to reapply to continue using their Legacy Scholarship next year, they will provide transcripts of their most recent grades from college. So they can log on to their student web portal and they can access an unofficial transcript, which almost every transcript found in the student's web portal has a watermark or a way that we can ensure that that is an official document and therefore we can accept it. The next required document is the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Every student must complete the FAFSA whether they are a Legacy Scholar recipient or not, and they will need to submit a FAFSA even if they do not anticipate receiving federal financial aid. Each student, when completing the FAFSA, is allowed to send their financial information to up to 10 schools. And each of those 10 schools will reply to the student with an official offer. That financial aid package, that offer, is what we call a financial aid award letter. It simply lists that from your information from the FAFSA, these are the dollars that we can provide to you, the student. Or they may receive, alternatively, a letter that says, unfortunately, we do not see that you have a need for federal financial aid, and therefore you will have to take grants or find other scholarship dollars. So either one of those 2 letters that the student receives is the third final component. We'll dig a little bit deeper into these 3 required components during session 2 of the virtual series, Required Documents and Financial Aid. So now that we know how a student accesses the Legacy Scholarship through the Battle Creek Community Foundation Scholarship Portal, let's talk a little bit about that timeline. So on or around November 1st of each year, the Battle Creek Community Foundation Scholarship application will open online. A student can log on at any time after that date to begin working on the required fields and written essays and short answer portions of their application. On or around December 1st, the student should have access to their transcript, which shows that their graduation year is forthcoming. On or around January 1st, the student should be able to upload the student aid report from the FAFSA. This is simply a summary of the student and the parent's financial information that's used in other scholarship considerations with the Battle Creek Community Foundation, but is separately a required component of the Legacy Scholarship. And then you'll see highlighted in black is that March 1st is the traditional submission date, the deadline for Battle Creek Community Foundation scholarship applications. So after the student begins their application, attaches a transcript of their most recent grades, uploads a copy of their FAFSA student aid report, that student can submit the BCCF scholarship application. And from that point forward, they will work with the school that they are most interested in, the Office of Financial Aid from their ideal primary institution will email them with requests for documents. It is very important that the student monitor their emails regularly and submit those documents as to not hold up this process. So on or around June 15th is when we, we Legacy Scholar staff will communicate our recipient information to Kellogg Community College so that they can apply those awards to student accounts and allow a seamless transition for students to register for classes. Now, I just want to note one important thing is that as you can see here, there are 3 required documents for our application, and one of them comes after the posted deadline. So it is very important that if a student or a parent has a question, just give us a call at the office and we'd love to talk it through with you and clear up any confusion. We can also revisit this portion in the Q&A section at the end of the presentation. Let's look at the application timeline for the Battle Creek Community Foundation, but what does it mean for the other side when the student seeks to enroll in courses at Kellogg Community College? Here's a list of some important fall dates. So on June 15th, fall 2020 semester registration opened. So for those legacy scholars who completed their applications for scholarships and submitted their transcript and their FAFSA student aid reports, and their financial aid award letters, because those have gone out as well, those students were immediately communicated and able to register. So students have up until August 31st when fall 2020 semester begins to get us those materials, and some may make it close. That is not a cutoff date. We have seen students add after that fall semester begins. Now you'll notice highlighted in black on this slide is the date for September 11th. This is what we call a drop add deadline at Kellogg Community College. If a student were to elect a course at the beginning of the semester and seek to drop that course, as long as they do so prior to the drop add deadline on September 11th, there will be no penalty. However, if a student drops or what we call withdraws from a class after that drop add deadline, then we at the Legacy Scholars Office will reduce the number of credits for that dropped course as if the student took it to completion and earned credit. So it is very important for students to communicate with staff at Kellogg Community College and to monitor their student emails to ensure that they get the perfect schedule prior to any penalties being taken on their eligible total. The dates you see for October 5th and October 26th are transmission dates. These are dates when the Office of Financial Aid at Kellogg Community College seeks to reconcile financial aid accounts and to balance any loans provided. That information we will cover more in session 2, required documents and financial aid. And finally, an important date coming this fall is December 18th. That is the end of the fall 2020 semester. So at this time, what I'd like to do is just pause there. And I do see that Travion Thomas was able to join us. So I'm going to allow Trey to talk now about introducing herself and also telling the group a little bit more about how students and parents can interact with services on campus at KCC. Trey, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We sure can. And actually, if you'd like to introduce yourself, I'll pop us back to the screen that had your picture and your contact information. So please go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here online with you all, basically watching the presentation. I just want you to know that I am a support for you all. As I'm watching this presentation, I am taking down notes as well, because I also need a refresher. You know, it's been a couple of months since we've been locked down, but I am so excited to get back into the rhythm of things and help you out to the best of my ability. At Kellogg Community College, we are definitely making changes to make sure it's safe for not only you as the student, but safe for us as the employees. For now, up until further notice, I did provide a link that Terry will share in a few. But it's a great link for you to go to kind of view how we are taking appointments in terms of you visiting the different departments. So if you are interested in visiting academic advising, the admissions office, financial aid office, the registrar's office, pretty much all the departments on our KCC campus are only taking appointments, okay? Because we are trying to monitor how many people come in and out of the office, and we wanna make sure that we are protecting all parties no matter what. So please view the link below before you even connect with Kellogg Community College, because that will direct you towards how we want you all to connect with us in order to get those appointments scheduled for you to come see us, okay? You can still call us right now. We just opened up this Monday. So literally yesterday, we just opened up to the public. So we are taking appointments, we are taking phone calls, but for now, it's not a walk-in type of basis where we have the doors open or anything. Right now, we're only taking appointments, and we will really appreciate for you to definitely view this page and just help us out a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Trey. And as you were speaking, I hope everyone was able to see as I connected to that page to show you what you will encounter. You can access the virtual services link that Trey has provided at the bottom of this slide, but you can also go to the kellogg.edu homepage, and it is presented first as their banner on their website. So it should be very easy to find. And Trey, thank you so much. We will have Trey continue to join us throughout this series to provide any helpful information as a Kellogg Community College representative. So thank you very much. Now, returning back to the Legacy Scholarship presentation, let's talk a little bit about what it means for a student to accept the terms of the Legacy Scholarship. So at the end of the application, the student will be asked to read a set of terms and conditions. And this varies by scholarship opportunity at the Battle Creek Community Foundation. It varies by other scholarships offered by the Kellogg Community College Foundation, and it varies for the Legacy Scholarship. So it's very important that anytime our young adults are signing documents or applications that they understand the terms to maximize their use. So the first important term that students need to know they need to abide by to keep the Legacy Scholarship is that they will maintain satisfactory academic progress or remain in good standing at Kellogg Community College. So essentially what this means is that a student will pass more classes than they fail, and they will meet and stay above a minimum GPA. The next important term is that the student will take a minimum of 6 credit hours per semester for the fall and the spring, or they will take a minimum of 3 credit hours per semester during the summer. And so what we see is that all of our Legacy Scholar students have different ways in which they'd like to utilize the scholarship, which we will get to here in just a moment. But it is a very easy process for the student to let us know if they're meeting our minimum. And keep in mind that our minimum is different from the federal minimum, which to receive the Pell Grant, you must be enrolled in 12 for fall and spring. The Legacy Scholarship was built with flexibility to allow students to take at least 6 credit hours per semester for that fall and spring. And then finally, our Legacy Scholars agree in their terms and conditions that they understand that the Legacy Scholarship is last dollar. So again, private scholarships awarded to the student, federal Pell or other financial aid will pay, and then the Legacy Scholarship will pay as a gap filler or as a guarantee. And recall that Legacy Scholars must reapply for the scholarship every year. So let's talk about some of the uses in which our Legacy Scholars use this flexible opportunity. First and foremost, many of our students know that Kellogg Community College is the natural next step for them, and so they plan to enroll at KCC full-time. For this use, the student simply applies and elects their courses, lets us know if they're going to be below that amount, but otherwise, they're all good to go. Probably the most common use of the scholarship. Next, we understand that some of our students have urgent personal demands or have to work while they go to school. Therefore, a student can request through our appeals process, which we'll talk about in a short bit. They can request to be approved for part-time and take courses as they need to within the 5-year period of their scholarship award window. Next, the dual enrollment that you see here does not refer to high schoolers dual enrolling into college, but rather our legacy scholars who travel to the four-year university for the fall and the spring, but want to take an online course, for example, at KCC while doing so. So that student could be enrolled in a four-year program at Michigan State University, University of Michigan, Western Michigan University, Hope College, Albion College, Adrian College, Northern Michigan University, you name it. If a student desires to take one course at KCC while kind of simultaneously fulfilling enrollment requirements, they simply need to reach out to us to let us know that that's their plan. Now, a bit similar to this, but slightly different, is that student who chooses to go to the four-year university not to dual enroll, but rather to return to Battle Creek during the summer, maybe work or maybe take courses and utilize the Legacy Scholarship throughout that summer semester. Every application that the Legacy Scholar student completes sets them up for that following fall, spring, and summer semester. So please keep that in mind. Next, the RMTC stands for the Regional Manufacturing and Technology Center. This is a campus of Kellogg Community College located out in our Fort Custer Industrial Hub area. Now, with the RMTC, the courses are not set up in the traditional sense of credit hours and time spent in class, but rather a hands-on module-based learning where students can become credentialed or certified in the professional skilled trades. And I would ask that you again refer to the link that Trey has provided to us to learn just exactly how the coronavirus has impacted students studying at this magnificent facility. But we do strongly encourage our students who are interested in the professional skilled trades to think about how they can take advantage of the Legacy Scholarship and getting them that credential. And lastly, certificate exams. So a student might not be prepared to enroll in the traditional full or part-time sense. Say a student has decided that the only thing standing between them and their career after high school is a certification program, and one of the most popular that we see is the CENA program at KCC. This is the Certified Nursing Assistant program, which is, I believe, 6 weeks in length, and the student must still abide by the part-time status. So if that falls below 6 credit hours during the fall or spring, the student simply needs to appeal with us and explain that that is their post-secondary plan, and we can approve it, or they can take another course alongside that certificate course that they're interested in. So these are the predominant ways that we see our Legacy Scholars interacting with our office and maximizing the use of their eligible Legacy Scholarship credit hours. If you have any other interesting uses, you can always contact our office, but we will now transition to the appeals process to learn a little bit more about how students might request consideration to receive an exception of the rules. Because that is what an appeal is. An appeal is a request for an exception to the rule. So we've talked about how eligibility is determined. We've talked about why a student might take less than 6 credit hours. We have not yet touched on reimbursement, but we will here in a moment. And we've talked about the required documents and how some barriers might prevent a student from being able to submit those. So please rest assured, our staff has a way to get around that. So let's take a look at 5 very common requests from our Legacy Scholars. And remember that these are appeals. These are students submitting a form to request consideration because something non-traditional, something unexpected has happened and is preventing them from fully utilizing the Legacy Scholarship. First, I attended eligible schools, but received a letter saying that I was not eligible for the scholarship. If that is a student that you know, they simply need to contact our staff, tell us a little bit about why, or present that letter saying they were ineligible to us, and we can look deeper into it. Due to circumstances I could not control, I attended a high school outside of an eligible district. For this, the student would submit an appeal and let our office know why it was that the student was attending outside of an eligible district. What were those circumstances that the student could not control? Please keep in mind that eligibility appeals, when received by our staff, have to be reviewed by our BC CAN Legacy Scholars Board of Directors. For those requests, once submitted, the student may have a waiting time up until the next Legacy Scholars BC CAN Board of Directors meeting, which occurs bi-monthly. Another request that we've seen from our students is, I need to be approved for part-time because I will be working full-time this semester and only really need to take one class to achieve my goals. This is a very simple appeal that the student can submit and have our staff take consideration to communicate this information to KCC so that the student's financial aid account showing the Legacy Scholarship is not affected adversely. I am unable to complete the FAFSA online because of a difficult situation or because of my documentation status. We'd like all of our attendees and our Legacy Scholars to know that your appeal forms that you submit to us are fully confidential. And we encourage you to let us know if there is a situation like, for example, where a student cannot get a hold of their parents' financial documentation to complete that FAFSA, and therefore they cannot submit the required documents. You can appeal for consideration. We will evaluate it and see if there's a way that we can assist or attempt to waive the requirement. And another example of this happening is perhaps a student's documentation status is preventing them from completing the FAFSA or receiving a financial aid award letter. And also in this scenario, we can work with the student, get as much information from them as we can, and process that appeal request. And lastly, I am a Legacy Scholar, but I registered for classes and money was withdrawn from my personal account. In this instance, we can work with the student, depending on the hardships the student faced, or maybe they just simply mistakenly missed a deadline. We can work with those students to get reimbursed, but please remember that reimbursements and appeal requests for that reason are one-time approved only. So it is our hope as a staff that we can work with the student or the parent and educate the family in the ways that they need to get the information they need to follow the deadlines appropriately and to prevent money being withdrawn from their accounts. So displayed for you on the screen here is actually just a snapshot of what our appeal form looks like. This is a very simple one-page document, which asks the student to provide us their contact information, their address, their phone number, their email, the reason why they are appealing. As you can see, the 4 that we've reviewed today through various scenarios are listed there, but there could be another unique reason why a student needs to appeal for consideration. What you cannot see is that there are also lines provided on this document which allow a student to essentially provide a narrative form to explain why they're appealing and to provide additional documentation when necessary. And just one last time, keep in mind, anytime a Legacy Scholar submits an appeal form for eligibility, then that requires our BC CAN Legacy Scholars Board of Directors to evaluate that request, and that request processing may take some time because our board meets bi-monthly. Now, for extenuating circumstances, exceptions can be made, but to date, I don't believe we've had any of those that have gone outside of our Board of Directors' regular meetings. And now that we've taken a look at what the Legacy Scholarship is, how it supports students, how they can access the Legacy Scholarship, and if something were to happen, how they might request consideration for an exception. Let's talk quickly about how to renew your Legacy Scholarship. And that is simply reapplying every year. Students must complete the online Battle Creek Community Foundation Universal Scholarship application by the posted deadline each year to continue using their eligible Legacy Scholarship credit hours. Failure to do so will result in a student advancing in the process, registering for classes, not having completed the required application or document information, and therefore may receive a bill, which is what we would like to prevent from happening altogether. So I hope this information was helpful to our attendees. At this time, I'd like to begin our question and answer portion. So I'll be turning the microphone over to our senior program officer, Laura Zale, and she will address those questions you've put into Q&A so far. As we continue this conversation and review frequently asked questions, please feel free to put more questions into the question and answer box. Laura?
Thank you, Terry. We did have one question come in about the scholarship application timeline. And you just briefly talked about it again, but if you can go back to those key dates. We do stress the March 1st application deadline because that is the scholarship deadline for the Battle Creek Community Foundation. However, the Legacy Scholar application is always open. We do close it temporarily after March 1st to allow the scholarship team to process all of the hundreds of applications coming in. But the Legacy application, we try to be very flexible and understand last minute decisions could be made, or a student simply, missed the deadline for various reasons. So we do have an application open for students after March 1st, only for Legacy Scholars. With that, then, that May 1st deadline is also flexible. We put a deadline out there for students to get that financial aid letter to us. We know that they will not have it by March 1st, so we find it is helpful to provide deadlines. But again, if a student misses it, we're not penalizing students. So as soon as they do receive it, they just need to send it to Terry or myself or someone on the scholarship team, and we will make sure it gets added to their scholarship application. That will complete it then, assuming we have the transcripts in FAFSA already, and then they'll be set to be awarded at KCC. So if you miss the March 1st deadline of the application or the May 1st deadline of the financial aid award letter, we do not penalize students for missing those. But as Terry mentioned, it's important to kind of keep track of these deadlines so the student can be awarded by June 15th or sooner. This year it was June 15th because of the COVID pandemic, and that's when fall registration opened. But if you can keep to those deadlines, it sets up the student for easy registration so they don't have to pay anything out of pocket when they register for courses at KCC. Another question that came in, if a student wants to go into the military, so how does that scholarship work? So if a student were to enroll in the military immediately after high school, that 5-year window still applies for students. So the 5-year window is there. We do not make exceptions for that 5-year window at this point. So if the student is in the military longer than 5 years, unfortunately, they would not then be able to use their Legacy Scholarship. However, it is my understanding that they would then be eligible for the GI Bill, so they could access financial aid through their veteran status. So they wouldn't be completely out of scholarship dollars, just not able to use Legacy Scholars. If they come back, say after a year or two in the military and then wanted to use Legacy Scholars, they just need to make sure that they have the application on file with their transcripts, the FAFSA, and that financial aid award letter. So as long as they're within that 5 years, we just need an application and they are still eligible to use their scholarship. So that answers those two questions that came in. The third question so when we award the scholarship, once a student has all of their documents into us and their application, we then communicate weekly to KCC those awarded scholarships. So we begin on June 15th. That's not the only date that we start communicate new awards to KCC's financial aid office. So June 15th is when registration opened for fall semester. So we ensured that those students that did have their application completed with all 3 documents had Legacy Scholars on their account so they could so they could register for their classes. If a student turns in those documents to us and submits that application after June 15th, we communicate weekly on Fridays to the financial aid office all new students who have completed the process. So if you turn everything into us on a Tuesday, we will make sure that you are included on that Friday's list to KCC. We typically send it later in the afternoon, so we give the student most of the day on Friday, but KCC is closed on Fridays in the summer. So the list is typically processed the following Monday. So if you miss June 15th, it's not the end of the world. We still communicate weekly to KCC on behalf of students.
Great.
So those were the 3 questions that came in. If anybody has any others, feel free to type them in. We have a few more minutes left, and I know Terry also is providing just some FAQ, some frequently asked questions that we typically receive that we probably covered during the presentation, but may have glossed over some of it, and this might go into a little bit more detail. So you will have this available to you as well. If you have a question that you think you understood or just wanted a little bit more clarification on, you might find the answer here. But we are still available to answer any of your questions while we are live.
Absolutely. And so what I'll do is, until Laura receives an additional question, I will then just briefly review the frequently asked questions just as a courtesy to our attendees. And so the first is, when do I apply for the Legacy Scholar Scholarship? If you recall, we are asking students to meet the deadline of March 1st with the Battle Creek Community Foundation application. And as part of meeting that March 1st deadline, they will submit 2 of the 3 required documents, and they will also be in line for consideration for other scholarship awards that are not Legacy. And this is especially important when our Legacy Scholars reach the end of their eligible credit hour amount and are looking to transfer to another school. How does the student activate or get their Legacy Scholarship? They reapply every year with the Battle Creek Community Foundation. How is the Legacy Scholars Scholarship awarded? Please reference our presentation today. And if you have any issues or think you have any issues with the determined eligibility for you or your student, please reach out to staff and let us know. We would love to assist. I'll pause right there. Laura, did you have a new question come in?
I did. So this one was regarding eligibility.
Okay.
And if you attended Battle Creek or Lakeview starting in 8th grade, will you get 100% of the scholarship until 12th grade? So yes, if you are continuously enrolled between 8th grade and 12th grade, meaning you don't leave. If you move between, say, Battle Creek Central High School and Lakeview High School, you would still be eligible because those are both eligible schools. So if you transfer from Lakeview to Lakeview Alternative, you're still eligible. So it's continuous enrollment in an eligible school district. If, for example, you went to Lakeview in 8th grade and 9th grade, and then in 10th grade, you moved to Harper Creek. And then you came back to Lakeview in 11th grade, your return in 11th grade would actually disqualify you, or that 10th grade being gone and then returning in 11th grade would actually disqualify you from the scholarship. But again, that's why we have that appeal process that Terry talked about to make exceptions if for some reason that move to Harper Creek or out of state was out of the student's control, or due to some other extenuating circumstances. So it is 8th grade through graduation is what we look for, continuous enrollment in an eligible school district. If a student is enrolled, prior to 8th grade in one of those schools, that's great, but we are not looking at that for eligibility at this point in time. When Legacy first started, they did look from 6th to 8th grade, but that has changed since we actually started awarding the scholarship about 8 years ago. So that's the important grade levels for eligibility is 8th through graduation.
Awesome.
Trey, I hope that answered your question.
Awesome. Did you have another question, or should I proceed with just one more frequently asked question? That
was all the questions that have come in for the time being.
Okay, excellent. And we're actually just rounding out on the last 5 minutes of today's presentation. So I'll just leave you with, these frequently asked questions that you can refer to at any time. We will be sending out links to the recorded session so that you can revisit this. But as a courtesy, we can also send the presentation in a PDF format. If you did not need to listen again, but you simply just wanted to reference any of the info, we will make that accessible to you. So following today's webinar, we hope that you'll join us with any additional burning questions. We'll be holding virtual office hours on Wednesday, July 1st, that is tomorrow, from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock p.m. Or you can catch Laura on Monday, July 6th, from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock p.m. And you simply need to send me a quick email just to let me know that you're interested in joining so that I can provide you the link. If you were one of the folks who had kind of a burning question, but it was more personal, then just shoot me an email and we'll get that question answered outside of the virtual office hour. But please expect, as we are all continuing to adapt to the pandemic, that we will be working to make all of our resources and our staff accessible virtually at any time to serve our students and families. You can stay connected and connect with your presenters today, Laura Zale and Terry Burleson, and our guest, Travion Thomas, KCC Admissions Representative, by using the information telephone or email here. Laura and I are both currently working remotely, so email is a great first point of contact, but please do not hesitate to leave a voicemail for Terry Burleson at that 719-8228 number, and we will get those answered in a timely fashion. You can keep up with us on Instagram, Facebook, and even download our mobile application, which is free and available for download in Google Play and Apple stores. Using our mobile application can get you information on our many wonderful programs, our events that we hold throughout the community or those we promote for our partners, important news stories about notable successes or issues related to education after high school, and you can even receive push notifications with important reminders to log in or to come find us if we are out in the community. And last, but certainly not least, this is a 3-part series. You are attending the Tuesday, June 30th session from 3 to 4 o'clock p.m. We will repeat this information live for our attendees on Thursday, July 2nd, and we will send recordings to all of those who indicated they could not be with us. Our next session, Required Documents and Financial Aid, will take place on Tuesday, July 14th, or also on Thursday, July 16th as well. And so we really hope to have you as a part of this virtual presentation series, and we hope that today was helpful. Before signing off, is there one more question that we could answer, Laura?
There was one more question that came in, and we will definitely address this in session 2, but I don't want to leave you hanging for 2 weeks. So the question was, how will you know Legacy has been applied to your financial aid account? So my understanding is with the student portal through Kellogg Community College, often referred to as the Bruin portal, the financial aid office will send you an email when you have financial aid to review and accept on your account at KCC. There's also within the Bruin portal, the financial aid self-service, I believe is still what it's called. I know they updated their portal in the last year or two, but there is also a way to review your financial aid award letter, because at that point, once Legacy is on your account, if you previously received a no-need letter or an award letter with other awards on it, it would be updated to reflect Legacy on your account. So I believe there's two ways: the email that's sent to your student account, as well as that financial aid self-service. You would be able to view an updated financial aid award letter, and you would see Legacy there. So between those two options, you should be able to confirm that Legacy Scholars is on your account. And if you don't see it there, then you are able to call us and we can help navigate.
Awesome. Well, that comes to the end of today's presentation. We would like to be respectful to your time. Thank you so much to Laura Zale, our Senior Program Officer, and Travion Thomas, our KCC Admissions Representative, for being on the call today. We hope to see everyone for session 2. Thank you so much and take care.